senior. Kicker, number 37, John McGuire.
Hello, everybody, and welcome into the Shelby County High School Football Pregame Show, live from Thompson High School and Calera tonight, as we've got both Andrew Simonson and myself ready for another big night of high school football action, the final night of region play, and for many, the final game of the regular season as we gear up for the postseason in a couple of weeks. And obviously, we got one last week of the regular season next week, but it's winding down. Andrew out at Calera tonight, so if we lose him, always bad cell coverage down there, but we've got him on for now. We're going to take advantage of that while we can. So Andrew, final night of region play. The season has flown by. It's hard to believe we're in this situation.
Yeah, it pretty much happens this way every year, though. Like, we get to this point where, like, where's the season gone? But time flies when you're having fun, as they say. And I think it's been a really, really fun high school football season. We've gotten a lot of great teams and a lot of great action throughout the season. So lucky to have a couple more weeks of it here in the regular season.
Yeah, well, let's dive in. We got senior night out here at Thompson. We got a big one down there in Calera as the Helena Huskies hit the road to take on the Eagles in a big county battle down there as well. So a lot to get to tonight. One game of meaning, that's going to be Chelsea at Benjamin Russell tonight for the 3 seed. The winner gets the 3 seed in that matchup. The loser going to take the 4 seed out of Class 6A Region 3. So we'll save that one, our game of the week, for the end of the show. But we're going to jump right in. We're going to start quickly in the AISA and the ACSC as we break down what we've got there. And no ACSC matchups this week as the Evangel Lightning on a bye before they kick off the ACSC playoffs here in just another week from now. So we're going to see Evangel back in action next week. But for this week, Coosa Valley and Cornerstone both in action. Cornerstone taking on Macon East and Coosa Valley at Meadowview. Andrew, walk us through those two games.
Molly Gentry. Molly is escorted by parents.
Uh-oh. Andrew, you there?
I'm backstage.
Nope, you're on. You're good.
Oh, perfect.
You good?
Yeah, it's been a great season for both for the Cornerstone Chargers this year, but they hit a little bit of adversity last week against Evangel Montgomery. They nearly got their first loss of the season, but they came back and did some really good stuff in that game. Now they're going to get a really big test on the road against Macon East, and Macon East team is really high powered. And Cornerstone defense, the Chargers going to fall on losing performance to get this win.
Yeah, Andrew's starting to break up on us a little bit, so I'm going to carry on into the AHSA here in just a second with Vincent as his connection gets back up. But Cornerstone and Macon East, that's a game where you look at that matchup. Cornerstone, the offense, the way that they've played so far this season, expect them to roll against the Macon East team that just gave up 85 points to Springwood in a loss last week, 85-54. Coosa Valley, their best chance at a win since early in the season as they take on a Meadowview team tonight that's actually pretty even in talent there. I think the Coosa Valley Rebels have a big chance to pick up a win tonight. Let's jump into the AHSA, though, and start with the Vincent Yellow Jackets as they hit the road to take on Greene County, coming off of a 49-41 win over Isabella last Friday night to improve to 7-1 on the season and lock up that 2 seed there in their region in Class 2A. So Vincent going to have a home playoff game here in a couple of weeks, but they start tonight. They close out region play with a road trip to Greene County. Andrew, when you look at this one, the way that Vincent's played defensively this season has to give you some high hopes for their performance here against a Greene County team that's been a little inconsistent offensively this year.
Absolutely. It's averaging right around 25 points, which could make it pose a little bit of a threat. But this Greene County team is reeling hard, losing 3 of their past 4. And I think that while Vincent, they're definitely banged up. We'll have to see if some of their stars can go tonight. But I think regardless, they'll be able to find some ways to get within this matchup just because of how strong the defense has been. I think they're going to be motivated off of last week's result, giving up 41 points to Isabella. And I don't think they're going to make the same mistake twice. I think they're going to come out, make sure that they attack this one, and then get some things going into a matchup with Montevallo next week and then the playoffs against North Sand Mountain.
Yeah, Greene County coming off of a bye week. That's the benefit they've got here. But after starting the season 3-1, they've gone the opposite direction, losing 3 of the last 4 games. They've shown a little bit of promise at times throughout the season, but Vincent been too consistent overall this year. I think we're going to see a strong showing from the Yellow Jackets tonight, especially from that defensive side of the football. I think they're going to go out and have a big night, continue to carry some momentum into that matchup next week against a Montevallo team that's a little higher in classification going in to the playoffs here in a few weeks. Expect big things from Vincent if they can get into the postseason healthy there in a few weeks. And speaking of the Montevallo Bulldogs, a great chance for their second win of the season. After winning that opener, they've struggled since then, lost 7 in a row. They're 1-7. Will they get an 0-8 Jemison team tonight that is really struggling as well? So a good opportunity for the Bulldogs as they hit the road to take on Jemison. I want to tell you real quick about Montevallo Main Street, one of our proud sponsors here on the Shelby County Pregame Show. This week, Halloween night, Thursday night, whether you live in Montevallo or you live outside of Montevallo, great event coming up. Hometown Halloween right there on Main Street in Montevallo. Go check it out. Go see what all the fun is about, what all the hype's about there in Montevallo and downtown on that Main Street area. You're going to have a lot of fun at Hometown Halloween, and you're going to see all the great businesses that they have there in Montevallo as well. So make sure you go visit Hometown Halloween this week there in Montevallo as we hit Halloween night on Thursday night. Check out some of the great businesses and support Montevallo Main Street there this week and in the future. They do some great things down there with the events that they put on, and obviously with all the great businesses that you can check out there in Montevallo. But the Bulldogs tonight, great chance to have some success of their own, Andrew, as they hit the road to take on Jemison. Both of these teams struggling to score points and giving up a lot of points as they score less than 16.5 per game for the two of them and give up more than 30 a game. So what's got to give in this one, Andrew?
I think one of these offenses is just going to have to come out and have a day for themselves, because I think the defenses are going to present plenty of opportunities for them. It's just going to be whether the offenses can ultimately take advantage. Obviously, Jemison, they haven't won since early August of 2023, but Montevallo, they're dealing with a lot of struggles of their own without a lot of their key offensive weapons, and really just struggling to get any sort of momentum whatsoever. Jordan Ward did have a solid week last week against Sipsey Valley. I think if he carries over some of that performance within the passing game, I think that he's going to be able to will this Montevallo team to victory, but it's going to be another hard one, and they're going to have to deal with a Jemison team that's going to be incredibly motivated to get their first win in quite some time.
Yeah, and to me, Montevallo's defense has shown a little bit more promise at times throughout the season. In a game where you've got two struggling offenses, to me, it's the defense that plays better that's going to end up leading to the win in this football game, and that's where I lean toward Montevallo, just because we've seen it a little bit at times. Even in some of their losses, the defense has played well. It's been the offense that struggled to catch up, throughout the season. I think that the offense may struggle a little bit tonight, but you're going up against a defense that's very susceptible. I think they should have their second best performance of the season so far, if not their best performance of the season in this game against Jemison. And the defense ultimately, though, regardless, I think enough to get it done there for the Bulldogs. We'll see, because like I said earlier in the week on the Shelby County High School football show, Montevallo typically a 4A team playing up in 5A this year due to reclassification. Jemison a little bit more used to that 5A level of competition. That may give them a little bit of an edge as well, but at the end of the day, I just think that Montevallo defense is going to be the difference there in that game as the Bulldogs have a strong chance at a win. That takes us to the Briarwood Lions, who are officially eliminated from the playoffs last week with a corner win over John Carroll. A close game in that one as John Carroll sneaks that one out by a touchdown. Briarwood now hits the road to take on Hayden this week, and the Lions still playing good football at this point in the season. You look at what they've done the last several weeks. This is a team that's gotten better and better offensively as the season has gone along, but the defense has been consistent all year, and now it's led to them playing some of their best football of the season. Andrew, if you've got me, what's your opinion and breakdown here on this game as Briarwood looks to continue their win streak and playing some of the best football they've played all season long?
I think the bottom line is the offense playing well. The defense is not playing well at all. Had a lot of opportunities to get the rock to Luke Reynolds and really make some big even in the past games with their quarterbacks as well. But even the Briarwood defense is all great opportunities. It's a Hayden team that's a touchdown or less in most of their games this season. So I do really love the Lions to come out and make a big stay on the road, finish out region place, and take another win in season next week.
Yeah, we got enough, I think, there from Andrew to at least know that he's going with Briarwood there. Just from you look at what Luke Reynolds has meant to this team since he got back from injury. It's been such a huge help there for Briarwood on the offensive side of the football. And this is a team was right on the cusp of the playoffs. A bye week in the scheduling. If they have that bye week maybe a week earlier, this is a team that's probably in the postseason right now, easily playing as a top 10 team in the 5A classification at this point in the season. So a disappointment that they're likely going to miss the playoffs there this year. But when you look at this matchup, Hayden has scored 8 points or less in 7 of the last 9 games. Not what you want going up against this Briarwood defense. I expect the Lions to use their strong defense to pick up a big win tonight. But that offense also should have a pretty solid night there for the Lions when you look at the improvements that they've made there throughout the season. As we jump in to talk about Pelham hitting the road to take on another 5A top 10 team in the Leeds Green Wave, I want to tell you about 3D Air Services right here in Shelby County. Proud sponsors of the Shelby County High School football pregame show, and several of our teams are sponsoring Pelham, who we're about to talk about, sponsoring the Briarwood Lions, and that's because they're local. Since 2005, they've called Shelby County home. They're more than just your trusted HVAC company. They're your neighbors, friends, and supporters, and proudly support several of our high school football teams right here in Shelby County. They believe in the power of teamwork, dedication, and community spirit, which are values they carry with them to every single job they do. You've seen it the last couple of weeks. We got a little bit of a cool down. That heater was starting to think about time to turn that heater on, and now we get a warm-up, and we're back in the upper 80s, and we're out here in short sleeves again on a Friday night. But you get that fluctuation in the temperatures. You got to make sure that that air conditioner and heater is ready for that as you head into these colder months and then into spring next year. So get that HVAC system tuned up. 3D Air Services, Jay Carr and his certified crew going to take great care of you throughout the changing of the seasons. Give them a call, 205-664-3501, 205-664-3501, 3dairservices.com, and they're going to take care of all of your heating and cooling needs here in Shelby County, Alabama. So make sure to give them a call or visit that website to learn a little bit more about 3D Air Services. Andrew, that takes us to Pelham hitting the road to take on Leeds, a top 10 team in the 5A classification. Pelham sitting at 1-7. They've got 3 consecutive losses off of a bye week, and going into that, they had some really tight losses that could have easily been wins. But since then, the offense has kind of regressed a little bit, and I think that's been what's cost them so far this season because the defense has given up a lot of points, and the offense hasn't been able to keep up yet. Tonight's the night where you've got to see it all come together. Both sides of the ball are going to have to play well, but in particular to me, this offense is going to have to play extremely well to keep up with a very good Leeds team. Andrew, if you got me, give me your breakdown on that game. Well, we got a smiling Andrew just sitting there, so we'll leave him there for purposes as
for 9 points in the last 3 games.
Yeah, we lost him. We'll see if we can get Andrew back here in just a second. But when you look at this Pelham Leeds game and what it means to both of these teams, obviously a non-region game. So the opportunity for Pelham here is it doesn't mean much for either team. Even though Leeds wants to keep that momentum up going into the postseason, this is a Pelham team that's playing for the future, a young football team looking to gain a ton of experience. So great opportunities for the Pelham Panthers tonight. 7-2 Leeds team, scoring 37.4, giving up 23.9. Pelham on the other end of that, scoring 17.4, giving up 33.6. So to me, you look at Leeds almost scoring 40 points per game. They're going to score some points tonight in this game against that Pelham defense. So it's up to Pelham's offense to be able to come out, have a good night on the offensive side of the football, and really do some different things and build a consistent approach offensively. If they can do that, I think they have an outside chance to keep this game close, and wouldn't be surprised if you look up in the third or fourth quarter and see a 1 or 2 score game with Pelham a chance to come out and shock Leeds there in that football game. So a good opportunity there for the Pelham Panthers to pick up that second win in a big fashion here late in the season as we wind down the high school football season. That's going to take us to the Calera Eagles and Helena Huskies as Calera hosts Helena tonight. Andrew's going to have your updates from there. He's going to try his best to get some tweets out from that spotty cell service down there in Calera Otherwise, I'll be helping out as well with some tweets there. So make sure you're following us both at Alec Etheridge SC on Twitter, as well as at Andrew T. Simonson. We'll do our best to get you some good updates there from that game between Helena and Calera. When you look at it on paper, though, Helena playing their best football of the season in the midst of a strong winning streak, off of a 3-game losing streak in the middle of the season to some really good teams. Head coach Richie Busby said that's why they play those football games, is to get ready for moments like this down the stretch. And now they've clinched, after a big win over Chelsea last week, they've clinched that 2 seed. They're in Class 6A Region 3. So Helena going to have a home playoff game to start the playoffs. So they're playing really good football. Calera, you look at what they're doing, and they've had one of their better seasons over the last couple of years with the approach they've taken under head coach Scott Riles. It's been impressive to see what they've done, and a lot of that's because the offense is better than it's been in a couple of years. I ultimately think Helena wins this football game, but Calera with that offensive approach could make things interesting here in this one. With A.J. Johnson at quarterback and those speedy athletes they have out wide, Calera could do some big things and make some explosive plays that makes this an entertaining game at the end of the night. Andrew, we got you back. I'm interested to hear your thoughts on this game, as it's going to be the one that you cover. I've already given everybody a heads up that the cell service is going to be spotty. Both of us will be trying to do our best to keep updates coming from that game down there, but could be a lot of fun.
Absolutely, and it's the reason why I'm here, spotty cell coverage and all. And that's because I really do think that Calera is a live dog within this game simply because of the dynamic passing abilities that they have. Now, in my opinion, that's what makes this Helena secondary the biggest part of this game. If they're able to pick off A.J. Johnson a couple of times, prevent them from making big plays downfield, then I think this could be a long night for the Eagles. But on the contrary, I think that if Calera is able to exploit the Helena secondary at all, make those plays down the field and continue to keep rolling throughout the first half, you could see a really, really entertaining football game, potentially even a 1-score game in the second half. But I do think that regardless, I do think that Helena, with both a strong defense and a balanced offensive attack, is going to have the pieces that it needs to get this win. It is ultimately their regular season finale. They have a bye week next week, so we'll see how much rest plays a factor for them.
Yeah.
But I do think that they will be able to outclass Calera for the most part.
Yeah, Helena wants to go into the postseason healthy because this team has started to play its best football. You don't want to lose that momentum either, but if this team's healthy, they can be a dangerous threat as we get into the postseason here in a couple of weeks, coming off a bye week. So we'll see what Helena is able to put together there, but both of us expect the Huskies to win. But Calera could keep that one a little bit closer than a lot of people may think because of how much they've improved throughout the season and so far this year, but especially with what they can do offensively with some explosive playmaking. Before we move on, I want to tell you about Bertoloni's and Consigned Design. Consigned Design right there in Alabaster, 72 Fulton Springs Road. Wendy Davis and her crew going to take great care of you with the consignment needs down there in Alabaster. Proud sponsors of the Helena Huskies. Give them a call or visit them. Consign.design. You can check out all the stuff that they have to offer there at Consign Design, or give them a call, 205-664-7540, to learn a little bit more about Consign Design, as Wendy Davis and her crew are going to answer all your questions, get you involved in consignment, and take good care of you. But women's, men's, children, baby stuff, whatever you need, they've got it right there at Consign Design for the family. You'll want to make sure to visit them and check out all the great deals that they've got to offer there at Consign Design in Alabaster. Proud sponsors of us and the Helena Huskies this year on the pregame show. And as for Bertoloni's, it speaks for itself. One of the best Italian restaurants in the state of Alabama, so conveniently located right off of Interstate 65 there in Calera. You look at all the incredible dishes that they've got to offer. They've been voted Shelby Living's best pizza, date night restaurant, and upscale restaurant this year in 2024. Go check them out. See why Sonia Bertoloni and her family have been bringing authentic Italian cuisine to Shelby County for so many years, and why they continue to do it. They believe in that community feel. They want to get to know you and treat you like family, and they do that right there at Bertoloni's. They've got the spaghetti. They've got the chicken parmesan. Their pizzas are unbelievable, and you can't forget about the great cake that they've got there as well. The strawberry is what they're known for. Seasonal flavors right now in fall, going into winter. Make sure you check those out as well. You can get them whole for a celebration. You can get them by the slice as well. but you've also got those family takeout meals. We all know how busy this time of year is getting the kids to and from practice or whatever it may be. Get those family takeout meals. They're going to survive on those for a couple of days from Bertoloni's. You can make that order at bertolonis.com, or you can give them a call, 205-664-8780. Again, bertolonis.com or 205-664-8780. Moving along, Andrew, we've got some other big ones taking place tonight. Let's start final 6A game, aside from our game of the week, Spain Park at Chilton County. Pretty self-explanatory game here. Spain Park locked up their first region championship since 2015 last week. Now they get a Chilton County team that's sitting at 2-6 overall.
Yeah, like we said earlier on the show this week, it really just comes down to motivation for Spain Park, and I don't think that's a problem with Tim Bakakis. I think this team is going to get ready, come out of bed, and ready to put this one away early because Chilton County presents plenty of opportunities for them to do so, giving up 31.4 points per game. I think the offense has a massive day and puts this one to bed early in the first half.
Yeah, I agree. The Spain Park team just really good. I think talked about this earlier in the week as well. They want to come out, set the tone early, get a big lead, get those starters some rest. They got 2 games here to close out the regular season. They want their starters resting in the second half because this is a team that knows they can compete for a 6A state championship. I expect Brock Bradley, those talented wideouts, the talented running backs to come out and set the tone early in this game offensively, build a little bit of a lead with a defense that's gotten better and better and better as the season has gone along. Before we move on from Spain Park, I want to tell you about Scooters Coffee right there on Highway 280 in Inverness next to Chipotle and Home Depot, and out in Chelsea right there next to Buffalo Wild Wings. As you hit 280 for your weekend shopping, to go to the high school football games, to head to Auburn or Tuscaloosa for the college football games, make sure you stop by Scooters Coffee. They got all the holiday flavors for fall right now. Soon we'll transition into those Christmas flavors as well, but they do such a great job. They're going to have you in and out in a flash. I'm headed down to Tuscaloosa tomorrow. Last time I did, I got a Scooters Coffee on my way. It gave me the energy for the trip, gave me the energy for the rest of the day. I'm going to do the same thing tomorrow. And that's just because it's unbelievable customer service, unbelievable food and coffees. They've got that trick-or-treat blender going into the Halloween week, a great, delicious frozen drink there. They've got cake bites that pair with that as well. So many other things right there. You can get the smoothies, you get the fusion drinks, you can get coffee, frappes, hot, iced, whatever you want. They're going to have it. The Carmelicious is what they're known for. You can get that plain or with pumpkin, which is a great recommendation there. You got the pumpkin spice latte, the maple bourbon latte, and so many other things in addition to their great food menu at Scooters Coffee as well. So make sure you stop by right there in Inverness on Highway 280 and in Chelsea throughout the high school football season, throughout your holiday shopping season as well. And Andrew, that takes us to Oak Mountain taking on Hillcrest Tuscaloosa tonight on their home field. This is Oak Mountain's best chance at a win in a long time, but this Hillcrest Tuscaloosa team played a difficult schedule, has gotten better and better, and is climbing in that direction. Oak Mountain played a difficult schedule going the opposite direction. They've struggled a little bit. Eagles have lost 3 straight, 5 of 6. Meanwhile, Hillcrest has started to click, winning 3 of the last 4. What's the expectation tonight for the Oak Mountain Eagles?
I think overall the offense just really needs to come and show up. We kind of know what to expect from the Oak Mountain defense. The Oak Mountain offense has been a little bit more inconsistent. Facing a Hillcrest team that is pretty high powered, you're going to have enough firepower to keep up with that. I'm not really sure they'll be able to simply because of what we've seen off of recent weeks. So I do like the Patriots in this one. But if Oak Mountain plays to their potential, this could be a very, very good football game and potentially an Eagles win.
Yeah, I agree. It has that potential if the offense can get back to the offense that we saw the first couple of weeks of the season from Will Odell, Zach Fitzgerald, several others. But we just hadn't seen it lately. They've scored 14 or less in 3 straight and 4 of the last 5. And they're taking on a defense in Hillcrest Tuscaloosa that's improved as the season has gone along. But they have been known to give up some points as well. So Oak Mountain going to have to come out early and score some points and set the tone offensively. If they can do that, they're going to have a chance to win this football game. But we just haven't seen it lately. And I just don't know that they can flip that switch so quickly this late in the season to put together a big night. But they'll have their opportunities to do so there as Oak Mountain looks to get a big-time win against Hillcrest Tuscaloosa. So we'll see what the Eagles are able to do there tonight on their home field. I believe senior night for Oak Mountain as well as it is here at Thompson High School. Andrew, let's jump to that game. Thompson hosting Prattville tonight. You look at Thompson right now, all 3 losses this season in overtime by 1 point. It's been unbelievable to see what's happened for the Thompson Warriors this season in some of those most difficult games. Tonight, coming off another one, they lose last week to Hoover. They fall, no region championship this year in Class 7A Region 3, and it's because of another overtime loss by 1 point. So how they respond is the big thing I'm looking for in this one. They should be able to do that.
Absolutely. I think this offense really is pining for a big week. They need to be able to show that they can consistently finish drives, but I think they're going to be able to do this here. I think Prattville presents plenty of opportunities for them to perform similarly to how they did against Oak Mountain, against Hillcrest Tuscaloosa, and be able to post up a big number as well. I think this will be a great bounce-back performance to end the season from the Warriors, and I really do think that they can put a little bit of some of the bad memories behind them from last week's game against Hoover, and they will need to. They'll need to get some momentum going if they want to make some noise within the playoffs. Obviously, an easier first-round game potentially waiting, but then you got Auburn in the second round, and you're going to need to play some of your best football very quickly within the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, this week's key because next week's a bye week. You get that first-round playoff game, and if they're able to survive that, you go into that matchup likely against Auburn in the second round. And to me, if they win that one, you make it to a state championship game because Auburn, to me, is the best team in the state right now. So it all starts tonight. You got to respond, and you got to show it offensively. I expect the defense to have a big night. I think they're going to bounce back in a big way, but the offense is going to have to come out and set a big tone in this game. Gain a lot of confidence because you're going to have a week off, and you need to go into that bye week with a little bit of confidence on the offensive side of the football. Do that. Go into that first game and carry it and carry it and carry it going into that hopeful second round matchup for the Thompson Warriors. So I think they're going to come out and play well. The atmosphere a little lackluster right now for what you would typically see at a Thompson game, but that's because last week was so big, kind of like I'm going to expect it Alabama, Missouri tomorrow, similar situation. It's just you get those games coming off of a loss where it really doesn't mean a whole lot. That's likely what we're going to get from an atmosphere standpoint out here. So Thompson's going to just have to be ready to buckle up the chin strap and go at it tonight and be focused for a big win here against Prattville. That takes us, Andrew, to our game of the week. I want to tell you about 3D Air Services one more time real quick before we talk Chelsea Benjamin Russell. Make sure to give them a call. We're about to hit that changing of the seasons. You're going to have to get that HVAC system tuned up. You may have that heater not crank up the first time you need to turn it on. Write the number down, 205-664-3501, 205-664-3501. Jay Carr and his certified crew at 3D Air Services is going to take care of all of your HVAC needs. Get that heater tuned up for you. They're going to also take care of your air conditioner if you need any services there. 3dairservices.com and give them a call or a visit to see everything they can offer you. Andrew, that takes us to our game of the week. No, we're limited on time. Chelsea at Benjamin Russell for the 3 seed in the region, which means you don't have to take on Saraland in the first round of the playoffs. So that means something when you look at how that team is playing football. So big game here between Chelsea and Benjamin Russell as the Hornets hit the road here.
Yeah, and more than that, you're going to want to avoid a 3-game losing streak going into that game against Oak Mountain and then in the playoffs as well. So this is all about momentum as well for this Hornets team and about regaining it after a couple of tough losses to Spain Park and Helena. I do think this team has it in them to beat Benjamin Russell. This Benjamin Russell team been a little inconsistent, been a little leaky on the defense as well. I think if this offense plays up to its strengths, they're going to be able to make a ton of noise within this one. But I think this game is going to be won and lost, similarly to the one here with the Chelsea pass defense. They have a big playmaker right there in Sedarian Morgan, who's really slid into Malcolm Simmons' shoes, as I've mentioned throughout the season. You shut down him, you shut down Elijah Johnson at their quarterback position. I really do think that you can turn this into a bit more of a lopsided game than we might be expecting. But I think even if this does come down to a little bit of a war, I think that those early season performances from Chelsea start to manifest in a game like this, and I think that the Hornets ultimately walk away with the victory. But they're going to have to come locked in and ready to go because we've seen what happened in the past couple of weeks when they face some really quality opposition.
Yeah, I agree. You got to come in ready to roll, coming off of back-to-back losses when you were undefeated a few weeks ago in the midst of one of your best seasons in school history. I think they faced that adversity last week, though. We hadn't seen it yet. Last week, they finally showed a little bit. They fall behind big to Helena. Second half, they come out, make a comeback. I think that carries over into this week. Even coming off of that loss, they now know that they can still compete coming off of a loss. I think you're going to see them respond in a big way. Defense is going to play great in the secondary, especially tonight. In that offense with Chase Stracer, Miller Bowman, They still had north of 400 yards of offense last week. I think they carry that into this week, too, against the Benjamin Russell defense, giving up about 26.1 points per game. The best unit in this game is Chelsea's defense, and in particular in the secondary, and I think that carries over this week. I think that Chelsea defense makes the difference in the secondary tonight. I think they lock them down. That run defense was the question last week, but ultimately I think we're going to see this team lock up and play a strong game tonight there and pick up the win and get that 3 seed and avoid that big matchup with Saraland in the first round, which is huge for the Chelsea Hornets. Real quick, Andrew, any closing thoughts? All right, I think there we go.
I know that the band's playing. We just got the run out as well. So it should be a fun match here with Helena. But we've got a great slate of matchups for you all the way to make sure you're following along.
Yeah, so went a little bit better than I thought it would with Andrew down at Clear. We always know that cell service is going to be spotty, but glad he was able to get through most of everything tonight. So, Andrew, I appreciate it. We'll let you go get set up. I'm going to close it down here. Thank you all for tuning in. We appreciate it. We hope for an exciting night here of high school football action. The final night of region play. We got some big ones, including Andrew down at Helena Calera and me right here at Thompson High School. Follow us on X at Alec Etheridge SC and at Andrew T. Simonson. We'll see you next week. Make sure you follow along. Story, photos, video, everything you need after the game on all of our games tonight. ShelbyCountyReporter.com, Facebook, and X, as well as Instagram as well. We appreciate y'all tuning in. Enjoy your football Friday night.